Listen, I get it. Going to the gym while living at home with your parents is tough. They're gonna reject it, they're gonna tell you it's wrong, they're gonna tell you it's crazy. Especially as a younger man, they're a lot more involved in your life compared to when you become older. Trust me, I know, I've been there too. I'm gonna tell you how not only to change that, but to use it to your advantage. See, with the gym, there's always gonna be things that are holding you back. Right now, it's your parents, but when you get older, it's gonna be your diet, your financial responsibilities. There's gonna be a whole lot of other things coming at you. And to be very honest, while it might seem that your parents are the biggest obstacle right now, I'm gonna tell you how to use that to become your biggest advantage. So first things first, one of the biggest things people always talk about is diet. And I know with a lot of parents, especially moms, they kind of don't want you to get the protein. A lot of moms are anti-protein powder. Mine definitely was no exception to this. And a lot of them can be very against you being more picky and choosy, trying to get more protein in, trying to get more calories in. And so that can be very difficult. Now let me give you the tip on how I dealt with this. What if I told you that you can actually train your parents to make the kind of food that you want to eat? And no, this isn't something that's super dark or, manipulative or anything like that. But basically, believe it or not, your parents want to make food that you actually enjoy and will eat a lot of. Most parents are not actually giving you food to punish you or to hold you down, but it's just that they're making the same thing that they've always made, the same thing that they've always eaten their whole entire 50 years of life. So it's very different to them now that you're requesting different things or you're eating different foods. Of course, they're naturally going to reject it. Most people do this. The way in which I implemented this, and it worked with both my parents. Both my parents make food once in a while, and both of them kind of come to realize, basically, for example, my mom might make rice and curry, like rice and chicken curry. This food is low calories, and it's also low in protein. And on top of that, I'm slightly allergic to some of the ingredients in that. So overall, it does taste good. I do like it once in a while, but I don't really like it as my main food, especially when I'm trying to fuel myself for the gym. But she will also make, on the other side, she will make pasta and meat sauce, or she'll make food like homemade osmos. Osmos is basically rice and shawarma chicken. And so we did it with homemade, so we also added a little bit of veggies. And it was really good for the gym because I can choose my portion sizes. It was really tasty. So I had basically a solid source of high protein, high calorie food that also tasted good, which was very ideal for the bulk. And so what you do is, when this food gets made, the one that you actually want, the one that you like, you want to be very complimenting of the food. You have to be like, wow, this is so amazing. This is so delicious. I love it. You want to eat it fast. Because what happens is your parents, your mom is going to see that, wow, he really likes this food. Wow, it finished so fast. They're going to want to make more of it. Whereas the rice and the chicken curry, or the rice and curry, I'm not saying waste it or don't eat it, but they can tell, you don't want it as much. It may take a week or two to finish. Whereas this, this one finishes in 2 days. It's gobble, gobble, gobble. I just eat it all down. It's wow, he really likes that food. And so your mom wants to make food that you like. The mom wants to make food that you find delicious. I don't know, it's like a mom instinct. They want to make good food for their kids. And it's a very similar story with my dad. I'm not gonna get into that now, but basically you can tell how we went from 80% rice and curry, only having this food once in a while, to suddenly now it was 95% of my food was high calorie, high protein foods. And this was only made once in a while. Maybe if I was sick or something, we would eat rice and curry. And so you can see that it slowly shifted, and then now it's to my advantage. And living at home, let me tell you, it was one of the greatest advantages because I could have, infinite access to this kind of food. Anyways, the next thing that a lot of people have to deal with is negative comments or limiting beliefs, or just things that don't really make too much sense. They'll be oh, the gym's very unhealthy for you, or you shouldn't be wasting your time with this. You should be focusing on studying instead. And so the thing is, you have to realize is your parents, they're Jeffries in a large sense of the word. They didn't grow up with self-improvement. They didn't grow up with the amounts of free will and choices that we have. They didn't grow up with the options that we had. Their life path was very set, and so doing things outside of that life path to them is detrimental. Going to the gym to make your muscles big, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of food. It's a waste of resources. Someone who spent their time doing that instead of studying would have ended up in life at a lower point. At least from their point of view, that's what they have in their minds. Especially if your parents are immigrants who came from poorer countries like mine. The harsh truth you have to realize is your parents are like 50 fucking years old, or even older. That's a very old age. Like, that's a long time to be alive. They were alive really long time ago, and on top of that, they're probably from a different place. The things that were optimal back then, the things that were optimal to do, the things that they were told to do, is all outdated now. This is like 50 years later. And so you have to realize, while they mean the best, it doesn't necessarily mean that what they tell you is the correct thing to do. And so what you need to do is you kind of just need to take into account what they're saying, why they're saying it, and then also factor in your own decision of, okay, I want to go to the gym, I want to get stronger, I want to get bigger. It's important, for my health, for my mental health, and also for my discipline. And the way to know that you're correct in your decision is to basically understand their point of view fully and entirely, and then also have your own point of view. And then you can just weigh the pros and cons. The chances are they have their point of view, but they can't understand your own point of view. And that's the reason why they constantly reject it, because they're old, right? It's hard for them to learn new things. At the end of the day, let me just make it abundantly clear for this decision. Going to the gym, building muscle mass, working on your physical discipline is 100% the right thing to do, especially as a young man. Hopefully, that's not something new, and you already have this idea very well instilled in your mind. Last thing I want to say is there's always going to be obstacles in your life when it comes to your goals, your fitness, your finances, relationships, whatever it is. Yours might seem very unique and different right now as a young teenager or as a very young adult. You might feel like you are at a severe disadvantage compared to someone like me. But the truth is, everyone always has disadvantages, and chances are, when you're younger, life is much simpler. So don't make excuses and take full advantage of the opportunity that you have in the situation that you're in, and go and make those gains. Anyways, guys, that's going to bring us towards the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. Check out my link in the description for further coaching. Subscribe to stick around for more content just like this, and I'll see you in the next one.